Hey, cheers and sláinte. How do you do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, and we're back at the pub. It's been a while since I've done an official at the pub, and I've got a brewer from the Pacific Northwest with me. I've got Rachael Engel. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, what are you drinking there, Rachael? You got a local beer from your neck of the woods?
Kind of, sorta. It is a porter from Bosque Brewing, which was a brewery that I was head brewer of until May, when we closed.
Oh no!
Yes.
So on that note, I wasn't going to get into it this early, but on that note, I mean, are you seeing a lot of brewery closures in your neck of the woods?
Quite a few, actually. It's a problem. It's it's happened before. I've been doing this for 26 years now,
Oh, good lord, you
and
don't look old enough to be have done it 26 years.
I'm 52.
Are you really? Wow, I would have
I
never
am.
guessed. I turned 60 this year, but yeah, I would have guessed you probably late 30s to be honest.
No, I've been brewing since 1999
Oh, good lord. So where'd
professionally.
you start at then? Just out of curiosity.
I started at a place called what the now I can't remember the name of it anymore.
It was a long time
It
ago.
was a long time ago, but it was a little brewery in just north of San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
not originally from the Pacific Northwest?
No, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, did you? Okay. I grew up in
Yes.
Southern California, actually, Anaheim area.
And I brewed in Southern California.
Did you? Well, where at?
I did. Huntington Beach Beer Company,
Oh, no
Bayhawk
kidding.
Ales, and yeah, Bayhawk Ales in Irvine, and what
Wow.
used to be, no, yeah, it was Irvine. What used to be Riverside Brewing Company in Riverside,
Hmm.
and then when I was there, it was Rack's Barbecue and Brewing, and now I believe it's Heroes Brewing. It's changed hands a couple of times.
Hmm. All right. So how'd you end up in the Pacific Northwest then, just out of curiosity?
My wife was suffering from asthma in SoCal and needed to get out of there, and I had an opportunity to help a guy start a brewery up near Olympia, Washington, and so we moved up for that. And that
So how
was
does she like
2000.
it up there? The difference between San Francisco and there?
Oh, she's from the southern. She was in Southern California. She's from
Oh,
Ohio
Southern California.
originally,
Okay. So
and she
does she like the Pacific Northwest now?
she loves it up here, and I love it up here too. It's
Yeah.
beautiful here.
Yeah, I've got a brother that ended up there in the mid '80s, I guess, and him and his wife live it. They've been there ever since. I lived up in Bellingham. Actually, I lived up there from '87 to about early '90 before I left. But the beer
Yeah,
scene wasn't like it is now back then.
no, it was not. It's changed dramatically just since I've been in the industry.
I tell you what, when I first moved up there, though, Red Hook was just really getting going, and I had a beer up there. I believe they call it the Rye Hook. It was a rye pale ale.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
coming from, I mean, at that time, '87, I was drinking mostly, the usual suspects. The first time I had that beer, I said, "Oh my God, that is something." And it's amazing that we've got where craft beer has gone from just brewing, just a better version of, or our version of European ales to what we become now.
At this point, we're pretty much world leaders. Um, the European beer scene is actually trying to catch up with us in a lot of ways.
I have that argument with a lot of my friends out there. They seem to want to disagree with that, but yeah, I agree with you. But for me, I'm a classic beer styles guy. But I've seen most breweries, um, uh, the ones that are seem to be thriving, are doing trendier beer styles. The problem I see with that is trends only last so long. So you've either got to keep
Exactly.
chasing the trends or find your niche.
So my last brewery, Bosk, was almost entirely traditional German beers.
Mhm.
We had one IPA because you have to have an IPA in the Northwest. It's just
Yeah.
it's how you make money.
Mhm,
Because
it
I like
is,
to
yeah.
do. We had one, and everything else was pilsners and various other lagers. One of our best sellers was a Schwarz beer.
So the breweries that are surviving, What are the reasons you think that they are surviving, and what are the reasons for the closures?
Reasons for the closures are pretty much the same as they've always been. Tastes have changed. People start breweries. There was basically the brewing industry has these booms and busts, and it's happened that way a couple times since I joined the industry.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And most of the time, the reason a brewery closes is it's undercapitalized.
yeah.
And most of the breweries that I've seen close have been either undercapitalized or have haven't changed their styles to hit trends.
Hmm.
And the trends these days aren't necessarily trendy beer, but things like lagers are coming back into style. IPA has become such a diffused category that it's hard to keep up with it. And so, yeah, because it used to be you made an IPA, it was classic C hops and some crystal malt.
Hmm.
And now you've got your West Coast, you've got your hazies, you had brewed IPAs that are pretty much gone now. There's cold IPA, there's all sorts of things, and it's just become such a diffuse category that it's
Hmm.
really hard to hit the one IPA. But classic crispy pilsners and other more traditional beers are coming back into style.
So, what are your thoughts on that? You think it's a good thing? Do you
I think it's a
are you
good
looking
thing.
for the trends?
I'm not really looking for the trends so much. I'm looking for beer that people like.
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the ultimate target, is not necessarily keeping up with the trends. You have to pay attention to the trends.
Hmm.
But if you chase trends and only trends, you're not going to keep selling beer. You're going to want people who want classic beer. And it's important to pay attention to that too.
Hmm. What I've seen in this area is breweries getting overextended, right? You've got this nice market, you got a small brewery, you're doing well, but then all of a sudden you think you want to grow, and then many just grow too big too fast, and you can't keep up with that overhead.
That's part of the whole undercapitalized thing. People expand without
Yeah,
having the money to stay expanded,
they
and
think they've got that. Yeah.
they're counting on distribution or
Uh,
sales that don't happen.
yeah. And there's a lot of
And
places. There's a couple breweries out here that are really good, but they've got these great big rooms, and a good portion of the time, there's only a handful of people in these great big rooms.
exactly. No, I think the model of the brewery I'm currently at, which is a place called Sound to Summit Brewing, it's in Snohomish,
Hmm.
Washington. It's about half an hour north of Seattle. Um, they've got a really
Hmm.
great model. They barely distribute at all. We have a tap room and the brewery, and that's just about all of the distribution we have.
Hmm.
And we are brewing 2, 3 times a week just to keep up.
How big is your system?
It's a 7 barrel system
So okay, so that's pretty good size for a small brewery. Yeah,
for a small brewery.
yeah. I work
And
for a small brewery here in Springfield, Missouri, called Banter, and we're just running a 1 barrel system.
mm,
It's just a small tap room. I think it's got about a 50 capacity. And when they've looked at growing, they looked at those other two breweries that I was talking about and decided to hold off for now, put the money into the beer, into the space that we have, and that is so far that has worked. We have, it's funny, I've been with them for about 2.5 years, and I've seen them go from having 4 IPAs on the menu to down to 2, and having to traditional German styles down to most of the menu is now traditional German styles.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the niche that we've carved out, which is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, is a lot of many breweries tend to want to only stay with the trends, but you can carve out a niche. There's always people in town that are looking for traditional. And if you're the only place in town that's doing it, they're going to find you.
And that was what Bosk did. Was we were one of the few breweries in the Seattle area that did traditional German beers and almost nothing but. And so that for a long time, that was our niche, was doing that.
Mhm.
The problem was it was too big for its own good.
Oh yeah.
We were running a 30-barrel system,
Oh gosh, that's a lot. Yeah.
which was huge, and we weren't selling enough beer to justify it.
So along those lines, are you seeing a decrease in craft beer drinkers?
To a certain extent, yes. I'm also seeing it aging. The kids aren't drinking as much beer.
Mhm. And so in my neck of the woods, they're drinking the THC beverages, they're drinking kombucha. Are you seeing the same thing there?
Seeing the same thing.
The under
Ready to drink.
30s, well, without being ageist, is it the under 30s that you're noticing?
Yes. Um, Also, ready to drink cocktails are big.
Hmm. Yeah, we're not doing that yet, but we have expanded into cocktails, which is how my role in the brewery has grown. I'm designing a lot of cocktails. There's two of us bartenders that put together our cocktail menu, and she's much younger than I am, but she's been in the bartending gig longer than I have. So
Mhm.
when she puts together cocktails, they're more of what the younger folks are drinking, which allows us to bring in a younger clientele that wouldn't come in for the beer. I always joke on our cocktail menu that everything fancy on that menu is hers. Everything with three ingredients is mine.
Fair
I'm the
enough.
three ingredient cocktail guy. But I kind of, I found at age 60 that my calling was to be a bartender all these years. So I've never been happier at work.
I decided years ago that brewing was what I wanted to do, and I tried really hard to get into college and get an actual degree for it, and then I went through a technical school instead,
Mhm, mhm.
and here I am.
So do you see
Uh,
yourself doing anything else in the industry?
uh, I may have to at some point. It's getting harder and harder to brew. The body doesn't like lifting kegs all the time.
Yeah. That's what I tell folks. Because Tom, don't you want to brew? I know you used to do a lot of home brewing. Yeah, I did, but I don't want to work that hard. I see how hard those brewers work. I'm not putting bags of grain over my shoulder anymore. I don't want to clean kegs. Hey, I'll change a keg on the tap. I don't have an issue with that. I'll even distribute. But no, I don't want to work. You brewers work way too hard. I like being a bartender and doing outside sales. I'm a sales guy.
That's fair. I'm not a salesperson. I'm good at making beer.
Oh, mercy. Yeah, I used to do a lot of home. My wife got me my first homebrew kit probably in, I don't know, 94 maybe. And I tend to get rather obsessive when I first learn how to do something. So I think at one point she thought she created a monster because I just kind of went crazy for a little bit. But then life happens and you kind of brew less and less. I haven't brewed in several years now, but once you get going, I mean, it's a bug.
I haven't homebrewed in years just because I have better toys at work.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I started homebrewing around the same time and then realized, wait, they'll pay me? And then I went to school and worked really hard to get where I am.
Mhm. So do you have a favorite style that you like to brew or a favorite beer that you brewed over the years?
Uh, Not really a favorite style, just because you can't afford to when you're doing it professionally.
Yeah, yeah,
Because as I said, you've got to make beer that customers want,
yeah.
and you may or may not like that particular style.
Hmm.
But if the customers want it, you got to brew it, or the brewery goes out of business.
Yeah. So I don't.
That
Do
I
you find that's kind of an Achilles heel sometimes with brewers? Because my experience is, and it may have changed now, but brewers, especially old school brewers, tend to be very uh, egomaniacal. They don't really want to listen. They want to brew what they want to brew, and that's all they're going to do. But brewers, where I work anyway, the owner will talk to most of the styles we have on our board now were from customer suggestions.
Mhm. No, we listen to customer suggestions, but we don't always brew what they suggest, but we definitely listen and follow sales figures
Mhm.
and keep up with what's actually selling. So right now I'd say we're about a third IPAs, a third maltier ales, and a third pilsners and lagers.
Well, that's pretty well
Um,
balanced. Yeah, that's a well balanced
yeah,
board.
we're a
How
little
many
heavy
taps
on
are you
IPAs.
running? I'm sorry, I
Uh,
didn't mean to interrupt, but I was curious. How many taps are you running?
15.
15. Wow, that's a lot. Because I was talking with a friend. Him and I kind of grew up. We seen the first brewery pop open here in town way back in about the mid '90s, and every brew pub back then only had 4 beers, right?
Mhm.
And now you're seeing small breweries have 10, 12, 15 taps. We run 12, and we're just a one barrel system.
Well, with a one barrel system, you have to keep brewing to keep filling all your taps, so you might as well do different things.
And at this point, they're brewing almost every day. Yeah, they're brewing about 3, 4 times a week. Yeah.
Yeah, we brewed 3 times this week, and usually this week was unusual because it was all single brews. Well, usually we're doing double brews
Mhm.
because we're brewing a 7 barrel system into 15 barrel tanks.
So, as a customer, though, when you go to other breweries, what are you looking for?
What I'm looking for is quality more than anything else. Clean beer.
Mhm.
As long as clean beer is what I'm there for. If I'm there for a sour, I look for something else. But I'm usually not looking for sours these days. Um, but I'm looking for well crafted, clean tasting beer without infection. I'm looking for a place that cleans its lines regularly.
Yeah, which
Um,
is isn't as easy as what I mean. I noticed that a lot too, because you could tell when somebody isn't cleaning their lines, can't you?
yeah, we had a problem with that this last couple of weeks. Our line cleaning pump failed, and it
Oh
took
no,
about a week and a half to get a new one up and functioning.
I know I'm probably looking at it from a different angle than you, being more of a sales guy, but a lot for me is customer service. If the
Mhm.
beer is perfect, but the customer service is horrible, I won't go back.
Exactly. That's another factor, and that's front of house, and I don't do front of house.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I got you. I'm a people person, Rachel, and I don't want to work as hard
Sure.
as you guys in the back. Like I said, I'm not throwing bags of grain over my shoulder anymore. Those days are behind me. I don't want to work that hard anymore. I'll stand for 10 hours, but I ain't chucking grain, man. So, but again,
But
as far as being a brewer, I mean, if you had a preferred style, what would it be?
probably probably pilsners.
Pilsners, yeah.
They're, they're trickier to brew, and
Uh-huh.
I like the process of brewing them. I like the tricks and techniques you need to brew pilsners, and I like the fact that there's nowhere to hide mistakes.
Yeah, that's it. You can't hide a flaw. I usually when
Not
I go
with
to a new
beer.
brewery, I will order their pilsner if they have one on the menu. Because if you can do that, whether I agree with everything of that flavor profile aside, if it's not flawed, then I know they can brew other things.
Exactly.
So do you? I tend to drink seasonally. Do you have a year-round favorite style you go to, or you kind of go
Not
with the
really.
season?
I tend to lean away from most malty beers,
Yeah, okay.
mostly because I'm not as fond of sweet things as I used to be. And
That makes sense.
back in the '90s, early 2000s, everything had crystal malt in it. And
Yeah,
for the most part, I've gotten away from liking that. Although we did just brew a throwback IPA with a bunch of crystal malt and some classic sea hops, some Cascade, and
Mhm.
some Chinook.
Oh wow, that is old school. Yeah, the
Yep.
Chinook. Used to see a lot of Chinook and Amarillo for that
But
orange.
our flagship has Simcoe and Citra.
Oh, so you're keeping it simple. That's nice.
Yeah, our flagship IPA.
So you got those big tropical fruit notes, some citrus,
We we
and a
we lean on a
pine
lot of
note in
tropical
there.
fruit. Yeah, a lot of tropical fruit. We've got some hazies. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of hazies because the mouthfeel bothers me, but our hazies don't seem to have it, and I'm not sure why ours don't. They
When
don't
when
replace
you
it.
say mouthfeel, is it that for me it feels like it feels chalky? Is that what you're referring to?
It can feel chalky. I find them to be really thick,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and I'm not so fond of that.
Me
If I
either.
want
No.
a if I want a thick beer, I'll have a stout.
That's right. Yeah, just and the sweetness of the hazies. That's why I think a lot of the under 40s tend to gravitate towards those, but they want
Mhm.
that sweetness. Whereas again, some of us older folks, well, I want that beer to be bitter, right? I want that beer flavored beer. I want it to just take my palate and twist it all up so it's no
I
good
like
for anything the rest of the day.
I like bitterness, but I don't want to go back to the early 2000s and the bitterness wars.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where everything
And
tasted like grapefruit and pine.
everything tastes like grapefruit and pine,
It was
and
like
it
a cough
burns your
drop.
tongue, burns your tongue.
Yeah, there were some good IPAs out there though. So the red IPA and the black IPA, do you miss those? You don't see them as
Um,
often anymore.
you don't see them as often anymore. I kind of have a soft spot for black IPAs. Um, I wound up brewing what was effectively a red IPA for years when I was brewing in California, and our owner kept calling it an amber ale, but it was most definitely an IPA.
Yeah, I don't see.
And
My issue is I don't like the moniker black IPA because you can't be black and pale. And there was one that I really liked. It was done by Grand Teton called The Pursuit of Hoppiness. It was basically a red IPA, for lack of a better term, but they didn't call it an IPA. They just called it a hoppy red.
mhm.
And I like
we
it.
had
Just call it a hoppy red or hoppy black, but don't call it an IPA.
uh, I like Cascadian Dark myself, but then I live in the Northwest, so Cascades are a
But then,
thing.
yeah, like you just call it an IDA, an India Dark Ale,
Mhm.
instead of a pale. But it's not. It can't be black and pale.
This is true.
My OCD tends to get in the way sometimes. Oh, I never told you what I was drinking here, though. I've ordered online from Minocqua Brewing out of Wisconsin. I don't know if you ever had anything from them.
I haven't had anything from them, but I've heard of them.
They're very interesting. I need to find a way to road trip out there, but this is their Muckraker Imperial Stout at 9%. I'll show you that can there.
Nice. Yeah, I saw it on your
It's
page
very
earlier.
interesting, yeah. But yeah, they're kind of an interesting brewery because most don't want to enter the political arena, and they've been pretty. I mean, I brought this one out just for you to see. It's their Antifa Oktoberfest, so that might give
Mhm.
you an idea where they're leaning.
No,
And so,
I've seen their social media feed. I get where they're coming from.
yeah, they're hilarious. But I also, having been in the industry as outside sales and now as a bartender, while it is smart for breweries um, not to be that out front with their opinions because you're going to isolate some folks. I live in a very red neck of the woods here in Springfield, Missouri.
Snohomish is a fairly red area considering where things are, but it's hard in the Pacific Northwest, especially in Western Washington, which is where I live, to it's not too big a deal to be politically left out here.
Mhm.
Um, and my existence is controversial. I'm for the people who don't know about me, I'm trans. I'm one of the few trans brewers in the industry. There's like 12 of us worldwide that I know of.
Really, that's 12, just 12. Wow.
Yeah, there's probably more who aren't out, but there's 12 of us, or 12 or so of us who are out. And in some ways, depending on where you are, it can be an advantage. At Bosk, I had a trans pride flag hanging front and center in the brewery. That was the first thing I did the first day I moved in,
Mhm.
was hang that up. And we got a lot more customers coming in saying that they made them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, that makes
Mm,
sense.
that it was an accepting brewery. And the owner was not left wing, and he never complained about it because he saw that it was bringing in customers.
Yep. Whatever fills the seats.
Exactly. But
Has it
we
made it
definitely
difficult for you to find employment overall?
not really. I came out in the industry.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So people knew
I,
you already.
yeah, and it hasn't really stopped things. I I mean, I got the boss job a day after I left my previous brewery,
Mhm.
and I got the Santa Summit job before I left Bosk.
Wow. So okay, well that's good then.
So, and that may very well be due to the area I'm in.
Mhm. Yeah, this
Because
area this area is very red here where I'm at. Yeah.
Seattle area is not very red.
Seattle, yeah. Big cities, right? I mean, it's the same here. Kansas City, St. Louis tend to be more blue, where the rest of Missouri tends to be rather red.
Yeah, Washington is weird because Western Washington is this weird island of blue. Greater Seattle is pretty blue, and some of the areas surrounding Puget Sound is
Mhm.
pretty blue. But as you get farther west or any farther east, it turns bright red.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the I-5 corridor running up and down the state is pretty much blue.
Really? Okay. I know my brother had always said that it's more on the red side in Bellingham up there where he's at.
It's more red in Bellingham, but it's a college town, so the city itself is pretty blue.
So where do you see the craft beer industry going? Obviously, right now the younger folks aren't drinking beer, but do you think once they hit 30, they'll find beer? Because I've seen that. I know that sounds like a strange thing to say, but I've seen it before. Younger folks tend to
Mhm.
gravitate. You drink different as you get older. Do you see some of them finding craft beer, or do you just see an evolution in craft beer? Do you see more craft breweries doing kombucha and maybe experimenting with THC beverages?
I think it's gonna be a combination. I think we're gonna see more experimentation with alternative beverages. We're seeing that already. I think NA beer is gonna be a presence.
Hmm.
It already is, and some breweries out here are making NA beers. I think gluten-free beer is gonna be growing again. I used to work for gluten-free brewery in Seattle, and I think that sort of thing is gonna stay around. And I think it's a cycle. I think that uh, it's always been this plateau history. It crashed in the 2000s. It crashed in the late 90s. It's going to crash again. It is crashing again right now, but it always comes back, and I don't think it's ever going away forever. I think it's going to rationalize. I don't think we're going to see the massive growth that we had in the mid 2000s. I think that was unsustainable.
Yes, I agree
But
with that.
there was a certain amount of, oh look, this industry is going gangbusters. We'll just open a brewery. And I remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were ads in brewing publications for basically self-contained automatic brew houses that you didn't really need a trained brewer for. And people would buy those because the industry was booming and they thought they could make money hand over fist and not have to pay anyone what they were worth. And those breweries are the ones that went out of business.
Yeah.
And there's always hot price fluctuations. That right now everything's expensive because of tariffs. Back
Ah,
in
yeah.
back in the mid 2000s, hops had a massive price spike because there was a huge warehouse fire that wiped out like a quarter of the U.S. hop crop.
Yeah.
And
As a smaller brewery, do you find you have to get creative with the hops you buy or what you put in your beer? I know we do it in our case. He has to say, okay, they price these out of our range, so we're going to use this instead.
I've done that where I just can't get these; they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to get creative like that. Sound Summit has contracts, so we're getting our hops no matter what.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. But Bosk was buying on the spot market, and sometimes I have to get a little creative with the hops I used.
Now, do you have a favorite hop or favorite hop profile you like to use?
Not really. It depends on the style of beer I'm brewing. For IPAs, I tend to alternate between some of the tropical and stone fruit varieties and some of the classic citrus varieties.
So you like Citra and Mosaic then, I'm guessing?
I like Citra. I like Mosaic. I like some of the New Zealand hops, Motueka, and we had some Nelson Sauvin that was really good.
I really like that hop, yeah. It's a little more subtle, though.
Mm-hmm. But we primarily go through Citra and Simcoe a lot.
Yeah. I'm seeing Simcoe used more. Seemed like it kind of faded for a little bit. Now I'm seeing
it faded for a bit and it's back again.
Because we use a lot of it in our brewery, but most in town don't.
It helps that we're in the Northwest, so it's easy for us to get hops.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah. It's where all the good hops are grown out in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we've got 2 fresh hops on right now.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
My friend's brewery has 11.
Really? Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, man. We don't see a lot of fresh hop in our neck of the woods here, though.
I think you'll see more because of the new product that just came on the market. They're frozen fresh hop pellets.
Really? That's interesting.
It's a variant on cryo hops where they basically cold pelletize fresh hops. So it smells and tastes like a fresh hop, but it comes in a pellet. And they ship them frozen. They're more expensive, but they let you get fresh hop beers in places that you normally wouldn't be able to get them.
Wow, that's interesting. I haven't seen that. Wonder, I'll have to ask my boss about those.
Yeah, Yakima Chief Hops just started doing them fairly recently.
Wow, that's really I wasn't aware of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a fairly new product. It's like I said, it's a variation on cryo hops.
So does it feel like a fresh hop ale?
No, it feels like a soft pellet. It's like a softer version of a regular pellet hop.
Okay.
But they freeze them with liquid nitrogen, just like a cryo hop. But it's not. It's pelletized colder.
But you get that flavor.
You get that fresh hop flavor. It's still got a lot of the vegetable matter, so you get that green.
Really? Oh man, I'm excited. I have to see if we can find those.
There's a limited window for them. It's just like regular fresh hops. They don't hold well, from what I understand, but they're easier to ship.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because the only way to get real fresh hops is to basically drive to the farm and pick up a bag of hops. That's what we did.
Yeah.
For both the ones we've got on tap, is we literally had someone drive out to the farm at 4 a.m. while we started brewing, and came back with 100 pounds of fresh hops.
Wow, that's crazy. So how do I want to say this? So Springfield, we're I don't know, a tad under 200,000, I think, and we're running 9 breweries right now, which may be a tad oversaturated. How is your area?
Our area has breweries everywhere. I think there's 60 or 70 breweries in Seattle.
Oh, good Lord.
And Seattle's Seattle proper has probably 500,000 people. Greater Seattle area has, I think, 2 million.
Wow.
But to give you an example, the town I used to live in until like 2 years ago, in which is across the sound from Seattle, was a town of 10,000 people and had 5 breweries.
Oh, good Lord. Wow. Now, were they all doing well, I guess, is my question?
Not great, but they were all maintaining themselves.
Or are they bringing folks from out of town?
Yes, but that's because it's a vacation spot. It was basically
Oh,
a
okay.
yachting
Well, that makes
destination.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, what was the name of the
Sailing at
town?
Paulsbo.
Okay, now wasn't one I'm familiar with.
No, it's a little old Norwegian fishing town. There's a lot of Norwegians in the Seattle area. And it's basically on a sheltered bay, so you get a lot of people sailing into the harbor. And so in the summers, you'd get a lot of yachters coming in.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting.
Yes. Seattle, the Puget Sound is really big with the sailing and boating community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I liked it up there when I was there. Like I said, my brother's been there since about the mid '80s, but the
I
beer
love it here.
community wasn't. Do you? Yeah. So the only complaint, I guess my sister-in-law, I don't think she'd ever leave, but the complaint is the lack of sun.
That can be a problem, although we're getting more of that in the summer these days.
Are you really?
Oh yeah, it's the hidden secret we don't let on, but climate change has arranged for us to get a huge amount of sun in the summer.
So it exists, does it? Climate change is real? Because
I'm
that's not
afraid
what the news
so.
here tells me.
No, it's not what the news here tells us either. But I've been living here since 2006, and I've seen it happen.
That's funny. But you are seeing more sun then, huh?
Yeah, summers are actually fairly warm and comfy.
Wow.
We don't usually get much serious heat. We had maybe 2 weeks of 90-degree temperatures this summer.
Oh, that's warm for you guys, yeah.
That's very warm, and a lot of places don't have air conditioning up here because we
Mhm.
didn't need it. But the rest of the summer was 70s and 80s, nice sunny days.
Wow.
I got to ride my motorcycle a lot, which is always good.
Nice. Oh man, that's a nice imperial stout. You still working on the same beer there?
Yeah.
So tell me about that one. What are you getting from it?
Um, this one's getting a little over the hill, so it's starting to get a little more caramelly than it used to be.
Mhm.
I canned this, oh God, in March, I think.
Oh, okay. So you've had it a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a nice roasty porter. It is a robust porter, so it's got a lot of roasty coffee notes to it.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's fairly clean. Like I said, it's getting a little over the hill, so it's picking up some of the caramel flavor you get from aged beer.
You know what's the ABV on it?
That's a good question. Where is the ABV on this label? I think it was about 5.5. 5.9.
Okay,
5.9%.
that's about as per style, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you so since I've been working at this brewery about 2.5 years now, I will tell you that I probably drink less beer working at a brewery than not working at one.
Definitely. I've noticed that.
I didn't know if that was just me.
No, that's everybody.
Because I'm working all these shifts, so I'm not drinking while I'm working. Some of the
I don't
brewers I
drink
know
while I
they'll
work.
have a beer per shift, but we only run one person per shift, so I'm not really having shift beers after work because my shift is over and we're closed.
Right. No, I'll do a shift beer after I'm done, but I won't drink while I'm on the job. I know
Yeah, I
some
don't
brewers
either.
that
Yeah,
do, and that's how you get hurt.
yeah, it is. Yeah, and same with. I mean, you don't necessarily get hurt, but that's how you make mistakes being a bartender. Yeah.
Mhm.
What I'll do,
Also,
what I'll do a lot is
it's
I don't start drinking until my money's counted.
fair enough.
So
It's
sometimes
also
I'll pour a beer, put it off to the side, then I'll count the money. Then okay, now I can wash dishes and drink.
it's also illegal to drink on shift
It,
when you're
it is,
a
but you
bartender.
see it everywhere you go, though, don't you?
You do.
It's one of those, just don't get caught things.
Yep. No, I'll taste beer just to make sure that for quality control, but it's a sip and then then
Mhm.
it's a drain pour.
Yeah, I do the same. When we have a new style, I have to because I've got to be able to sell it, so I need to know what it tastes like. I need to be able to describe the notes. So I'll
And
usually pour a.
we always taste before we package just to make
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
You got to know, especially behind the bar. I've got to know what to tell them it tastes like, or what they might get. That's the phrasing I like to say. Well, you might get this because we all taste things differently. I like to tell folks you're only going to taste what you know. So you might get date and or fig, but if you don't eat date and or fig, you're not going to ever taste those things.
Exactly.
The pretentious beer folks always bothered me when they say stuff like, "Well, this is what you're going to taste." Well, no, if folks don't eat those things, that's not what they're going to taste.
You'll taste what your mouth says you're going to taste.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interpretation. Those things aren't in there, so your brain is interpreting what they think it is.
Exactly.
Uh,
I try not to use specific fruits most of the time. I'll say
mhm.
tropical fruit
Yeah, yeah.
or stone fruit.
Citrus. Yeah, I say
Cit-
stone fruit, citrus. Yeah, I like to use those terms, stone fruit. So this hazy IPA will give you those big tropical notes up front, some stone fruit in the middle, some nice citrus zest in the finish. That way they can fill in the
yeah,
blanks.
dark dried fruit.
Yeah, that
I
could
get
be a
that in a
lot of
lot of
things. Yeah, dark
yeah,
dried
you
fruit.
get that in a lot of the holiday beers.
That could be
Is
raisin, that could be plum, that could be cherry,
exactly.
that could be anything. Yeah. So do you? I brought it up kind of briefly earlier, but seasonally. So as we get into fall, we're gonna. You said you're not crazy about the maltier beers, but you tend to see more of on the malty end as we get into fall and winter. Are you a fan of the big stouts or barrel aged beers, barley wines?
I like barrel aged beers if they're done well. Um, we're probably going to be blending ours next week. We have actually we have pumpkin stout that we've been
Oh,
barrel
really?
aging for
Okay.
about a year.
Oh, wow.
So we'll mix that up, and it's the base beer is something that we won a World Beer Cup award silver for in 2023 rather. So it's a good beer. Not that I'm a huge fan of pumpkin beer, but it's a good beer, and we tasted it about a month ago, and it's evolved considerably in the barrels. So we're going to be doing another tasting next week and blending it.
Yeah, I always say everything tastes better in a barrel, but I'm a whiskey guy too, so I
That's fair.
like those barrel notes. That for me, I like barley wines, but barley wines for me are always better when they've spent some time in a barrel because that oak will take those rough edges off. It'll take that
Exactly.
sweetness down.
Yeah. No, I did when I was at Bosk. I did some barrel aged Doppelbock that was really good,
Oh wow, I bet that was amazing. I love a
and it
doppel.
was
Yeah.
yeah. We just brewed one last week
What what
at
what
Grand Summit.
what's your ABV on your doppel? Out of curiosity,
We don't know yet. It's not done yet. It's
what are
probably
you
going to be
looking
around
for?
8. We're looking for about 8%.
Okay, which is yeah, that's pretty too. That's ours usually runs between 7, 8, and 8.2, depending. But yeah, he's usually shooting for about 8.
Yeah, it's going to be around 8%. We hope. But it's a slow fermenter. So
It is, yeah. So IPAs, where do you see IPAs going now? Do you see the trend staying with the hazies? Do you think it'll go backwards to those big acerbic IPAs? What do you think?
I don't think they're ever going to get quite as. We're not going to see a repeat of the IBU wars, but
Yes, yeah. Would everything
I
have to be 120 IBUs?
exactly. But I think West Coast IPAs are coming back. People are realizing that crisp, clean beers are
Mhm.
good. And I think what we're going to see is a trend towards bitter beers with the tropical fruit flavors.
So you're going to see an increase in, say, the Citra, Mosaic, Galaxy type hops, as
I
opposed
think so.
to the Amarillo, Cascade.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to. I don't think it's likely we're going to go back to the days where everything had Cascade and Centennial and Amarillo.
Centennial, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was Centennial way back when. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw a lot of Centennial, Cascade, Amarillo. Oh, that was pretty standard.
No, I think the tropical fruit flavors are here to stay. But
do you think it'll get less sweet? My issue is the sweetness.
Yeah, I think the less sweet is going to happen. I think you see a lot more hop backbone.
So more done West Coast style, but more of that tropical fruit flavor.
More clear beer with the cleaner mouthfeel.
So what are your thoughts on rye? You like the rye IPAs?
I like rye. I like rye IPAs. I don't think they're for everybody. I think the spice turns some people off.
It does. It does. So we do one as our fall winter seasonal IPA.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gives folks an option between that hazy, the flagship hazy. Then you got something different. If you want a little more malt, something a little more biting, you've got that rye IPA option.
Right. No, I personally really like rye.
Yeah, I do too. But I like, I'm kind of a palate killer. I mean, I want that big flavor. Doesn't matter my food, my drink, no matter my coffee. I want my coffee strong as hell. I want my alcohol strong. I want my beer. I want those big flavors, no matter what it is.
That's fair.
My wife says this because I've killed my palate, so I have to have big things to be able to taste anything. I tend to go the other direction, but I can taste things that others can't. I got a super palate. I can taste those big notes. That's why I eat very spicy. I want these big bold flavors because I can taste them. But she's probably right.
It happens.
As you get older, yeah. But truthfully, I would have never guessed you were that old. I really thought you were probably early 40s at the oldest. But wow.
Nope.
So you've been in the industry a long time, though, and you've been brewing beer a long time. We've talked about some of it, but what are the biggest changes you've seen over time?
When I started, hazies didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
They just, no one had even thought of doing that. If you put out a beer that looks like that, people would never drink it because they think it was a flaw in the style. People wanted clear beer. We filtered everything. Let's see. Sours didn't exist. Nobody would have put Fruity Pebbles into a beer.
No, that's crazy, isn't it?
I think so. I think pastry stouts are a mistake. And
I agree.
But some people really like them. Great Notion is known for that sort of thing. And they're selling great gangbusters, so they're doing something right.
Yeah.
The cost of doing business has dramatically gone up. I remember when I started brewing, hops were $3 a pound. Now they're averaging like 9 to 10.
Yeah, it makes it real hard for the small breweries.
Exactly. And small breweries can't really get contracts, and so you have to buy hops for whatever the market will bear at that point.
So I forgot to read some of these comments that were coming in. I wasn't paying attention. So Rhode Island Red made several comments. He just says, "Cheers was just in case." He loved it. He says, "Sadly, craft beer is tanking in my neck of the woods." Says, yep, stone fruits, dark fruits. He's so over hazy, he says, and I love the swing to lagers. And I think a lot of old time craft beer drinkers are kind of getting that way. I mean, for me, I've kind of gravitated back towards classic styles, especially when I was at a brewery back in August, and they had a Baltic Porter on the menu, and you don't see that often. So
Mhm.
when I saw that was the
We had
first, I
one.
was like, I'm going to order that because if you can brew that right, I know you can brew.
We had one on at Bosk. Unfortunately, we named it exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time. Called it the Empress of Russia, just as the war in Ukraine started.
Oh no, yeah.
So
Yeah.
sales on that didn't go so well.
Yeah, you might need to rebrand that one, but yeah,
We just started calling it Empress and referring to it as Empress.
Empress. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was exactly the wrong time for that name.
Oh gosh, yeah. But I love that style, though. I wish more breweries would do it.
Mm-hmm. You're seeing some breweries out here are doing them now. My friend, she just moved to Denver, but she was working for a brewery in Seattle itself, and she did a really good Baltic Porter. She was doing some really good barrel aged stouts. She actually brought back British Miles, which you don't see very often.
No, you don't anymore. In fact, in my neck of the woods, you used to see a lot of the classic uh, English styles more so than German, but we're not seeing as much
Mhm.
anymore.
There's one brewery in Seattle called Machine House that does nothing but classic British
Really?
styles, and they do it all on cask.
Oh, well, that would be awesome. I would love that. Yeah.
So they're really good.
Are you seeing breweries going more towards classic styles now, the ones that are surviving, or no?
Not necessarily. It's kind of a mix.
Mhm.
Some of them are going for classic styles. Some of them are leaning hard into the experimentals and the weirdnesses.
I guess it kind of
There's a
depends on where your demographic is, right?
there's a brewery called Urban Family in Seattle
Uh-huh.
that they do basically almost nothing but uh, fruited sours and hazy IPAs, and they're doing amazingly well.
So they've carved
And
out their niche with those
they've
styles.
they've carved out their niche, and they're rocking it.
So, but is it sustainable?
I think for them it is. I think that there's a place for that sort of beer, and
Hmm.
they've basically taken that over. And you get a lot of that in Seattle. You get some specialized breweries. There's
Hmm.
one called Holy Mountain that does basically a lot of, for lack of a better term, they do whale beers. They do white whale beers. They make Belgians. They make barrel aged beers and interesting pilsners,
Hmm.
and that's pretty much their entire market. And they're the ones that do the bottle releases that people will line up for.
So, what are
And
you
so
looking for moving forward in the industry? What would you like to see happen?
I'd like to see going back to some of the more classic IPAs and to see pilsners get bigger. People recognize that pilsners are good, and I think we're starting to see that. And I want that trend to continue.
Are you seeing younger drinkers looking for pilsners, or mostly older folks?
It's kind of hard to tell. It's a mix. Um,
Because the younger folks I get in my brewery that are looking for want to drink beer, they're looking for that very light, that very light, under 5% American style lager, not necessarily a full on pilsner.
right.
We have one pilsner that's very much German. It uses only nobles, but I find the demographic for that is primarily over 40.
I haven't really looked at the demographics of how ours break up, but we've got an American Pilsner and a traditional Pilsner
Mhm.
and a Reislager.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
yeah, and there's some of our better sellers.
We do have one brewery in town that does a rice lager every summer, and I got to tell you, every time I go to that brewery, I order it just because it's just so clean, so crisp,
Exactly.
and it's better than those names that you can buy at the store. It
Definitely.
finishes clean. It doesn't have that lazy sweetness at the end or that metallic taste that so many have.
Right.
So, do you like to lean more towards the classic styles? Then, would you like to see
I
more of them?
personally do. I personally like the classic styles, but like you said, I can't have a favorite beer. I have to brew what people want to buy.
Yeah,
For
that's
example,
true. Yeah.
I don't like Hefeweizens. Um, I was I had my taste for Hefeweizen spoiled by working at Pyramid when I was first started out,
Oh, really? Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
Pyramid's Hefeweizen tastes like Band-Aids.
Yeah.
To me, it's so phenolic. But if you do it right, they sell.
Yeah.
And so I can brew one and I can appreciate it, but I don't have to like it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny too. I've kind of got to that stage as well when I get asked, what we should brew. And I always tell them the styles that we don't have on that board. So I'm not necessarily a fan of sours and ciders, but we should have at least one sour and or cider on the board because that will bring in a younger demographic than we're getting.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan
We have
personally, but I think that's what's going to fill the seats.
we have a cider, mostly to fill the part of the gluten-free
Yeah.
crowd, but also Washington just has really good ciders because we're one of the major apple producers.
You do, yeah. I do remember that about even back then. Yeah, you had some great ciders out there. Yeah, we have one seltzer on the menu for the gluten free, but I think he's looking at getting a cider on there as well. But yeah, that's a market you've got to cater to.
We've got seltzer in cans. We've got gluten-free beer in cans from my old brewery,
Mhm.
and um, we've got the one cider on draft. Other than that, everything we have is made in house.
That's nice. Yeah, we carry one guest tap, and we're about to get rid of that. We've carried one guest tap for a while. Everything else is brewed in house. When we tell we're pretty small when we say when people ask where's the brewed, I said right here. Well, where the others see that walk in the other side of that's a one barrel system.
You can see our brew house from the tap room. It's just
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah. We're very tiny. Yeah. So Rachel, I want to thank you for joining me at the pub. Any last words? Any thoughts on the brewing industry before we head out?
I just want to. I think that the predicted demise of the brewing industry is exaggerated. I think it's going to bounce back, and I'm hoping to be a part of it for as long as I physically can.
Yeah, I agree because I've been hearing about a bubble bursting for at least 20 years. I mean, you've got folks
Oh,
that say the same thing every year. I mean, at some point they might be right, but it's never going to burst completely. You're just going to have a correction in the market.
The bubble has burst a couple of times, and it's going to keep doing that. It's the trick is to just keep selling beer, keep making good beer,
Yeah.
and
The
not
ones that want
overextend
to stay
yourself.
around will still be there.
Exactly.
All right. Hey, Rachel, I appreciate. Hey, don't jump off yet. Let me say goodbye to everybody, and I'm going to talk to you off camera for a second or off. Anyway, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. And I want to thank Rachel Engel, brewer extraordinaire from the Pacific Northwest. Thank you very much. Have a good one, guys. Thanks.